Alright guys, this is my video blog 6, the part 1 assignment from Professor Dr. Vickerman. And in this, he actually asks how much of a contribution does requirements make to a software development project? That was the first question. And so I talked about that in a way that I first of all talked about the project requirements, which are actually conditions or tasks that must be completed to ensure the success or completion of a project. They cannot provide a clear picture of the work that needs to be done. They are meant to align the project resources with the objectives of the organization. The benefits of effectively gathering project requirements can include cost reduction, higher project success rates, more effective change management, and improved communication among stakeholders. They are categorized into three main categories: the business, the solution, and the stakeholder requirements. The business requirements are actually high-level needs. They address what's required and why the project is happening. It's more like the starting point of the project and provide guidance for the other types of requirements. It's imperative that these requirements are communicated clearly and early on. The solution requirements include both functional and non-functional requirements, and they actually have characteristics of the product and services that meet our requirements, both the business and the stakeholder. The functional requirement describes something that a product or service is required to do, and the non-functional describe how a system is supposed to function. The stakeholder is anyone who has an interest in the product or service that's been produced or provided. They may be internal stakeholders, which are employees, or external stakeholders, which are customers, regulators, or suppliers. Every individual stakeholder has specific needs or requirements that they want to be fulfilled. Each of these needs must be balanced during the course of the project. Oftentimes, stakeholders have competing needs which can impact the schedule, budget, and scope of the project if not managed effectively. The return on investment for good requirement gathering is virtually always higher than the cost. In almost all cases, if you spend the time to develop the requirements, you can develop a fast, superior product with much less hassle and frustration. At the same time, not doing the right amount of requirements gathering can create a chaotic environment in which stakeholders are kind of upset with the managers are upset with the developers are upset with the managers, and in the end, what really suffers is the product. So the benefit from good requirements gathering can be fewer defects in delivered product, less development rework, faster delivery of the finished product, less unused features, lower cost of development, less miscommunicated requirements, reduced project errors, higher levels of satisfaction from stakeholders, higher levels of satisfaction from developers, higher levels of satisfaction from consumers and users, products that work well and have a useful feature set. So how do you know when you have a good requirement document? A good place to start is making sure that everyone involved is in agreement on the requirements baseline. Customers should agree that the requirements document will produce a product which meets their needs. Developers should agree that the requirements are understandable and achievable. Quality assurance teams should agree that the requirements are testable. Stakeholders should agree that the requirements will fulfill the business objectives. So the second question says, how will you test interfaces and usability at requirement phase of a software development project? For me, I said usability testing refers to evaluating a product or service by testing it out with the representative users. Typically, during the test, participants will try to complete typical tasks while observers watch, listen, and take notes. The goal is to identify any usability problems, collect qualitative and quantitative data, and determine the participant's satisfaction with the product. There are two types of usability, namely the laboratory and remote usability testing. So the phases and the processes of usability testing will be planning. During this phase, the goals of usability tests are determined. They have volunteers who actually sit in front of the application. Recording their actions is not a goal. You need to determine critical functionalities and objectives of the system. You need to assign tasks to your testers, which exercise these critical functionalities. During this phase, the usability testing method, number, and demographics of usability testers, test report format are also being determined. The next one is you could build a prototype or product to test, whereby the purpose is to test the concept and build upon the initial framework. Based on the original design, you can actually determine what you like to study and what the goals of the test are going to be. Recruiting. During this phase, you recruit the desired number of testers as per your usability test plan. Finding testers who match your demographic, age, sex, etc., and professional profile can take time. Then the next phase is you actually do your usability testing, which is when the usability tests are actually being executed. Over here, one of the options is acting as a moderator during the session and guiding the test participants through the process. We have the next one, which is data analysis. In data analysis, data from usability test is thoroughly analyzed to derive meaningful inferences and give actionable recommendations to improve the overall usability of your product. And I talked about the last part, which is reporting. Is you actually get findings of the usability test, which is now being shared with all the concerned stakeholders, which might include the designer, the developer, the client, and CEO. And it can also be shared via spreadsheet with notes. It could be shared by audio recordings. It could screen grabs. It could be shared by video recordings. Feedback and surveys is also a medium where it could be shared. It could be shared by the success percentage calculations, and also the error rate percentage calculations. So this is the 6th week assignment. Thank you. I'll see you next week. Thanks. Bye.